Alright guys, so I have got my file placed here, and the way you do that is just go under File, Place, and you search for it in your drive and you put it on there. So that's good. And what I want to do, I've placed Iron Man off the side here. I'm going to make a graphic. So I placed Iron Man off the side so I can grab color swatches and load them into my swatches palette for easy selection. But the first thing I want to do is turn this layer into a template. What that does is it locks the layer and it diffuses the saturation like to 50% so that it doesn't compete with what you're laying down on the front of it. So I'm going to start this thing just laying down lines for shape. So you see I've only got half of Iron Man's head. So I'm going to hit Command R so that my rulers come up, and I'm going to make sure under my view that my smart guides are on. And I'm sorry about Facebook notices. So then what I want to do here is sort of drag in and get this center line set right at the halfway point here. So what I'll do is once I create half of this face, I got to create a new layer here. So I'm going to be working on this new layer. I've got my template and I've got my color base. But once I create half of this face, I'll just reflect it and join it together to make the whole Iron Man face, right? So this saves, because I've got bilateral symmetry here, this is a drawing that I made. I'll generate half of the artwork, I'll flip it, fuse it all together, and we'll be good to go. So I'm going to use the pen tool here to actually get the outlines of the whole face going here. So I'm on a new layer. I'm just going to name this something. I'm going to call it Outlines. I might change that name depending on how this shapes up. But when I go over the guide, you see that it pops up in there that I'm actually on the guide. So I'm going to put down a point. I'm going to hold Shift so that I go in a straight line. I'm going to throw down another point. Iron Man's face is fairly geometric, so far I don't have to do a whole lot of curves. I'm going to throw down another point. But up here is where I want to click and drag to begin making some Bezier curves. And now that I'm back on the guide here, I want to be on the guide so when I flip things and join them together, everything lines up really nice. I'm going to hold down Shift and click. Well, that didn't quite work out. Click, hold Shift, and then drag my directional point so that I get a nice even curvature on this right here. All right. So what I've got there, if I turn off my template real quick, is a simple line for the outer part of Iron Man's helmet here. I'm just making a simple Iron Man helmet graphic here from a drawing that I made. So now I'm going to go in and create the inner geometry of his mask here in pretty much the same way, using the guide. And I'm just going to kind of drag out these directional handles. Now I don't really have to make all these corners round. I could go back in with the new rounded corner feature in Illustrator and do some of that stuff, and I might do a little bit of that when we're finishing up here. But sometimes I like to just make the curves myself because it just gives me a level of control that I appreciate, and I don't have to remember to go back and do so many things later. So as you can see, I'm just kind of getting these paths lined up with the drawing that I made. Alright, so again, if I sort of turn that off, you can see I hit V to select off things. The shortcut for the selection tool is V, the shortcut for the hand tool is H, and the shortcut for the pen tool is P. So you learn those pretty quick if you want to be somewhat efficient in Illustrator. I'm going to save this because you should always save your work as you go. I'm going to call Iron Man Graphic. I throw that right on the desktop. Bam. Okay, good. And I think I'm going to make his eye now. So I like to name my layers all in caps. It just makes it easier for me to read. I'm going to zoom in a bit, turn my template back on, position this here. Now for the eye here, I probably will stick mostly to the straight corners there and go in and round these later with that tool because it's super geometric, and I don't know yet if I want to round the corners. In actuality, that path didn't quite close there. I need to make sure I'm right on the anchor and I get that little circle next to my pen tool and close it up. So if you see here, now that I've got the eye, that's a bit too geometric for me. If I click on it with the direct selection tool, I get all these little points here that will let me, I can either globally adjust the corner radius, hit Command Z to undo that, or I can go, corner by corner and select just the specific corner and adjust the corner radius. So I want just a really slight one on this one, and a really slight one on this one too. And let's round off these two guys as well. So I am doing just about all of them here, just to create a feel that's not super mechanical. Okay, I'm going to go back to outlines and get the bottom part of his jaw here. Again, using my guide to sort of keep me on track. Keeping things right in the middle. I hold down Shift whenever I want to constrain so that I get a nice parallel line there. So I'm going to turn this off again. And that is also a bit too geometric for me. So I'm going to tap A to go to the direct selection tool, get my corners up, see if I can just round this whole thing off just a smidge. Yeah, that's not bad. If you hit Command and then tap the minus key, you can zoom back out a little bit. You can zoom in, Command plus, zoom out, Command minus. More good shortcuts to have. So let's look at the rest of the drawing. I don't have a whole lot left to do. I've got this kind of ear thing over here. I've got this little cutaway in here, a little brow line going on, which I might not add until I get the whole face formed. And then I've got some other geometry going over here that's kind of important. So I'm going to go back to the layer I called I. Actually, I'm going to go under the outlines, create a new layer, and I'm just going to call it Stuffs. This is the random stuffs on Iron Man's face. That's what I want to create right now, random stuffs. And because this layer is behind the outlines layer where I have the larger geometry, I can just go right behind it, because this part down here will be hidden by the items on the layer that are on top of it. But here's another point where I want to be right on my guide so that when I line things up, they're good and proper. And I want to go back and be right on the guide again. So that wasn't half bad. Let's get the ear going here. I'm going to put that on stuffs as well. And now if I switch to A, I'm going to mess with these two, round these two corners off a little bit here. Alright, there's not a whole lot more to do here. I've got a couple of simple lines that I want to put. I've got to get this little cutaway down here, the groove in his mask. So again, I'm using the pen tool. I'm just plotting down the anchor points, clicking and dragging when I need curves. If you're not familiar with the anchor point tool, or I'm sorry, with the pen tool, it's a good tool to pick up. It can really help you quite a bit. So that one's back on stuffs, so I want to go back up here on outlines where I'm putting these lines that sort of belong up on the top geometry here. And I click away once I make a path. If I don't close it all the way, I click away with the selection tool just so that I can start throwing down a new path. Alright, so I've still got this brow line here, but let me just turn that off for a minute so we can kind of look at what we've got here. So I went through and kind of made all the core geometry, and I have to mess with line widths on here, and I need to throw down fills and things like that. But now would be a pretty good time for me to stitch this whole thing up. So I'm going to stop the video at this point because that might be sort of a labored process, and we've probably gone about 5 minutes. So I'll stop right now and we'll come back to that.